Marvel has officially announced today that both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars have been postponed. We should have anticipated this, but that's precisely what we're discussing today, folks. This delay for Avengers Doomsday, why it's actually positive news for both films, and how it might influence the MCU timeline, as it now means Spider-Man Brand New Day will premiere before Avengers Doomsday instead of in between. Even if you might not think it's significant, when films are rearranged like this, Marvel tends to adjust the storyline to align with the new release schedule. But I want to hear your thoughts on the delay of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Do you view it as a beneficial change? How do you believe this affects Spider-Man Brand New Day? Remember to like, subscribe, you know the routine. So yes, unexpectedly Marvel announced that they are pushing back the release of Avengers Doomsday from May 1st, 2026 to December 18th, 2026, with Avengers Secret Wars now set for a year later. They've also adjusted its release date from May 2027 to December 2027. Since Secret Wars is still quite a ways off and we don't have a clear understanding of what will transpire in that film, we won't delve too deeply into how this delay might affect it. Instead, we'll focus primarily on how it impacts Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day. On the Avengers side, this is excellent news. Since filming for Avengers Doomsday has only just commenced, where the production is currently taking place, the 12-month time frame allocated for shooting the entire film, completing all the visual effects, and handling the promotion along with significant tie-ins, given that this appears to be a massive Avengers installment, they are set to invest heavily in marketing. A 12-month period was never going to suffice. However, they continued to move ahead without any announcements of delays, which left many fans anxious, thinking, this is going to turn out poorly. This will be an unattractive Avengers film. The announcement of a 6-month push to December isn't particularly shocking. In fact, I'm surprised they didn't extend it even further. It's quite possible that the movie could end up being released in 2027, with Secret Wars being pushed to 2028. While it's a bit disappointing, I am genuinely eager to see what Doomsday will be like, especially following the conclusion of Thunderbolts and the casting choices for the X-Men in this film. I'm curious to see how everything will fit together. Giving them a few extra months to finalize the visual effects and handle the necessary promotional activities? Absolutely, take your time with it. However, this situation has certainly sparked some concerns regarding Spider-Man. If we reflect on the timeline of Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home, there was a period when Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was slated to premiere before Spider-Man No Way Home. But during the pandemic, schedules were constantly being adjusted, and things were not aligning as they should. To sum it up, when everything was finalized, Spider-Man No Way Home was released first, followed by Multiverse of Madness. This sequence disrupted some of Kevin Feige's plans, as he needed Multiverse of Madness to introduce America Chavez, a character capable of creating star portals into the multiverse. This character was crucial for the storyline of Spider-Man No Way Home, where she was supposed to create portals to bring in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and we even had concept art illustrating this idea. Unfortunately, all of this had to be altered and discarded once the release order of the films changed. This is the reason we see Ned with ancestral magic in his lineage, and the Spider People appearing in his Grammy's living room. I still enjoy this movie, but can you imagine how different it would have been if it hadn't been made during the pandemic and all these modifications? If you've been keeping up with the rumors and speculations surrounding Spider-Man 4, there are two potential storylines. One where Spider-Man is involved in a street-level narrative set before the events of Avengers Doomsday, or a multiverse film occurring after Avengers, possibly set on Battleworld. This setting would explain the Multiverse Chaos, as numerous other universes would converge in one location. With Spider-Man Brand New Day officially slated for release before Avengers Doomsday, we are now on track for that prequel, street-level story many of us are eager to see. This anticipation is heightened by a recent leak revealing that Disney is producing toys and merchandise for characters like Scorpion, Tombstone, and Boomerang as promotional tie-ins for Spider-Man Brand New Day, indicating they will likely be villains, and they are definitely street-level villains. Everything seems to be falling into place. Clearly, Disney didn't just come to this decision today upon waking up. They likely had an inkling for some time that they would ultimately delay Avengers Doomsday, but chose to hold off on the announcement for a few weeks or months. Sony was probably in the loop and adjusted their plans accordingly. Now, let's address the other significant issue at hand. We need to seriously consider applying the same reasoning we used for Avengers Doomsday to Spider-Man Brand New Day. When we examine Avengers Doomsday, the primary argument for its inevitable delay and the notion that the film was in trouble stems from the the limited time available for its production. Now, turning our attention to Spider-Man Brand New Day, it currently has an official release date set for July 31st, 2026. In just 2 months, it will reach the one-year milestone for that film, placing it in a comparable predicament to Doomsday. I can already anticipate what many of you might say. Well, Spider-Man Brand New Day won't require nearly the same level of effects, characters, and grand elements that Avengers Doomsday is planning. And you're correct. However, it remains a film that will undoubtedly depend on extensive VFX, and large action sequences also necessitate adequate time for promotion, tie-ins, and marketing efforts. That 12-month time frame is also a challenge for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it's entirely possible we could soon hear from Sony that, oh, this movie is delayed. This situation could lead us back to a scenario where it faces delays even beyond those of Doomsday. In my ideal scenario, there would be a domino effect and a synergy between Sony and Marvel. They might say, hey, we plan to delay Spider-Man. We understand you might also delay Avengers Doomsday once more. How about we schedule Spider-Man for a December release? This strategy worked for us before. No Way Home nearly reached $2 billion during the pandemic. So let Spider-Man debut then. And Avengers Doomsday can follow in May 2027. Honestly, that's my forecast. If I had to bet on it, that's what I believe will unfold. We would still see Spider-Man before Doomsday. However, let's consider the alternative. They are still two separate studios, and collaboration isn't always seamless. Sony wouldn't want to launch their latest Spider-Man film simultaneously with Avengers Doomsday in December, especially with such a crowded schedule. We have movies like Shrek 5, Ice Age 6, Jumanji 3, and Dune Messiah. Adding Spider-Man to that mix? No one will have the budget for movies this holiday season because we'll all be at the theaters. Thus, they would likely have to push their release to May 2027, if not to December of the following year. I know, it's a lot of dates and quite a bit of confusion, but that's why you tune into me. I handle the complex thinking for you. That's our dynamic. While delays can often be frustrating for fans and we tend to complain, I see a silver lining here. We gain extra time for the VFX of Doomsday to be refined and executed well, and Spider-Man Brand New Day will now come out first, fitting better into the timeline and aligning with Marvel's approach. Hopefully it will maintain a street-level narrative. But now I turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on these delays? How do you think they might affect the film? Anything at all? Be sure to like and subscribe. As always, I'm Andrew. Take care.